إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها فإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أعاذنا الله وأجرنا منها. أما بعد, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum. Today, Thursday, the 13th of Ramadan, 1446 after the hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is equivalent, inshallah, to the 13th of March 2025. Today, we're going to continue with our Tafseer in this grand mosque that is in National Universities Commission in the heart of Abuja. We are still in Surah Al-Baqarah and we've reached up to verse 219, where we heard Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explaining the hukum on khamr and maisir, that is intoxicants and gambling. Allah says, yes, there may be some benefit that is in monetary terms. You may get some money and earn some money, but then it has very big side effects, and the sin is greater than the benefit. For that reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says we should abstain from these alcohol or anything intoxicant and gambling in all its ramification. And then also Allah mentioned that we should feed from our wealth, the excess, the extra, after we've given our family or those that are compulsory upon us. Then the surplus, we use the surplus to earn Allah's mercy. And Allah says, كَذَلِكَ يُبَيْنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمُ الْآيَاتِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَفَكَّرُونَ. That is how Allah will explain to you His verses such that you use your intellect, you use your mind to reflect. Then He says what? فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. في الدنيا والآخرة ويسألونك عن اليتامى قل إصلاح لهم خير وإن تخالطوهم فإخوانكم والله يعلم المفسد من المصلح ولو شاء الله لأعنتكم إن الله عزيز حكيم.
Now Allah says, في الدنيا والآخرة. This has a connection with the last verse. لعلكم تتفكرون في أمر الدنيا والآخرة. Use your intellect, your mind, to reflect in matters of this world and in the next. So you are to use your intellect, your brain, your understanding to understand your world, because this world has been created purposely for you, for your sake. هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا. Allah says He's one that created everything on earth for your sake. So don't leave the dunya, for those unbelievers. No, they will shape it the way they understand. But you believers, you are the ones to shape the world the way it's better for you and even for them. Use your intellect also to reflect on things that will take you into Jannah. That is why we must protect the mind, the intellect. Very, very important. Because Sharia, Ahkam Sharia are not placed on people that are not sensible, mad people. No. But on sensible people that have their intellect intact and can use it perfectly. So don't destroy your mind, your intellect. Don't take alcohol. That will destroy your mind. You become temporarily mad. And mad people, are not enjoined to do acts of Sharia. So it's one of the most important duties of any government to protect the intellect of the youth. Engage them in something that will, boost their brain, like competitions and so on. Give them scholarship. Let them go far and near and, have knowledge, education. Very important. Don't allow, gambling or lottery commissions in your country. Unfortunately for us, we have lottery commissions, we have all these that has to do with, unchaste women, and then we have things that will just sway away the youth from exactly what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them for, to worship Him. Use the intellect. Think of how to better the world, and then think on how to better your akhirah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, dunya wal akhirah. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْيَتَامَى. They also ask you about orphans. Orphans. In the Quran, if Allah says, يَسْأَلُونَكَ, scholars say, those who do not know are asking somebody that knows. The companions do not know about the hukum, the ruling on alcohol or intoxicants. So they are asking the Prophet ﷺ that knows. Yas'alunaka. But if people that do not know are asking those that do not know again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word yatasa'alun. Amma yatasa'alun 'anil naba'il 'azim. Upon what are they asking themselves? Questions on the Qiyamah. Nobody knows. So Allah uses yatasa'alun. But now he's saying yas'alunaka. So yas'alunaka 'anil yatama, they're asking you about the hukum, the ruling of yatama, the orphans. Qul islahun lahum khayr. Say, you take good care of them, take good care of their wealth, their inheritance. That is better for you. When to khalituhum, and if it happens that you have to join their inheritance with your own wealth to do business, that is, you will become shareholders. When to khalituhum, فإخوانكم, know that they are your brothers and sisters in Islam. You understand? Allah says in the Quran, وَلَا تُؤْتُوا السُّفَهَاءَ أَمْوَالَكُمُ الَّتِي جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ قِيَامًا وَارْزُقُوهُمْ فِيهَا وَاكْسُوهُمْ وَقُولُوا لَهُمْ قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا. Don't give the orphans, the young, small children, all their inheritance. Don't give them. وَلَا تُؤْتُوا السُّفَهَاءَ. Even in that verse, Allah calls them sufaha. They are not intelligent. So if you give a small child of say 5, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, 200 million, before the year runs out, you just squander it. You will not even know what to do with 200 million. You just call his friends and start buying them biscuits or chewing gums. He doesn't know anything. Allah says, وَلَا تُؤْتُوا السُّفَهَاءَ أَمْوَالَكُمُ الَّتِي جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ قِيَامًا وَارْزُقُوهُمْ. But you can feed them, clothe them, educate them, and then وَقُولُوا لَهُمْ قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا. Always speak kind to them. But if وَمَنْ كَانَ غَنِيًّا فَلْيَسْتَعْفِفْ. If you are buoyant, you are rich, you have enough wealth to go and scout for your sustenance, Allah said, don't touch the orphans' inheritance. وَمَنْ كَانَ فَقِيرًا. But who amongst you that is poor, You cannot, go and look for your own sustenance and then look for their own sustenance. It's too much upon you. Do you need to maybe create a small company that you are a shareholder, the orphans are shareholders? No problem. وَمَنْ كَانَ فَقِيرًا فَلْيَأْكُلْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. And then you have to take your own share with care, with understanding. Not because you want to squander their inheritance. If you do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, قُلْ إِصْلَحُ لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ وَإِن تُخَالِطُوهُمْ فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ. If it so happens that you have to take part of their inheritance and join with your own to make business, know that they are your brothers and sisters in Islam. كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمُ الْآيَاتِ. That is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking time to explain to you all He wants, all the ayat, all the verses, all the ayat, and all the signs. لَعَلَّكُمْ كَذَلِكَ لا والله ولو شاء الله لأعنتكم وإن تخالفون فيقالكم والله يعلم المفسد من المصلح. Allah knows those that are having corrupt minds, that want to squander the inheritance of the orphans because they are weak. Allah knows the mufsid min al-muslih, and then He also knows those that are kind and good in their thoughts. They want to see they grow the wealth left behind for the orphans. Allah knows the two. So if you have a crooked mind, Allah knows. You want to cheat the orphans? Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ أَمْوَالَ الْيَتَامَى ظُلْمًا إِنَّمَا يَأْكُلُونَ فِي بُطُونِهِمْ نَارًا وَسَيَصْلَوْنَ سَعِيرًا. Those who, Allah uses the word eat, the wealth of the orphans, dhulman, in transgression, just because they want to cheat the orphans. إِنَّمَا يَأْكُلُونَ فِي بُطُونِهِمْ نَارًا. They are just eating or drinking hell fire in their stomachs. وَسَيَصْلَوْنَ سَعِيرًا. And verily, very soon they will be burnt in the Sa'ira hellfire. نَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. So you have to be very careful as regards the inheritance of orphans. Allah says, وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ. Had Allah willed, لَأَعْنَتَكُمْ. He will have made it difficult for you. Say, you should never, ever, whatsoever, combine the inheritance with your own wealth. Even whatever it will take, you must separate. Allah says He wants to make ease to you. He said you can now join as shares. Maybe you know how to share the interest. If what you have given is 1/3 of what they are giving, then maybe you share it in the ratio 1:3. But then you can also take some of your, workmanship or expertise. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ كَانَ فَقِيرًا فَلْيَأْكُلْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. All bil-ma'ruf. Do it justly, kindly. Don't just do it because you want to squander their wealth. Before they grow up, they will inherit nothing. Don't just do it like that. Allah says He doesn't want to punish us, that we must separate the two wealths. Your own different from the orphans, because in some instances this is going to be too difficult, too cumbersome, because you're going to run two businesses concurrently. But Allah wants to make everything ease to us. So He said you can join, your wealth to create a small company, a shareholding company. You have your share, the orphans have their own share. So whatever interest you accrue, you come and share according to your contribution to the company. وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَأَعْنَتَكُمْ. Then Allah says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَاللَّهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. إِنَّ اللَّهَ, verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Aziz, is all powerful. Nobody can escape Allah. So if you have crooked mind, know that Allah is Aziz. You cannot escape the punishment of Allah. Hakim, and He's wise in everything He does. So asking you to combine the two wealths, your own and that of the orphans, there's wisdom behind it. You will concentrate in one business and then you put all your best there, and you see that you get more interest than ever. Allah knows best. And Allah says what?
ولا تنكحوا المشركات حتى يؤمنوا ولا أمة مؤمنة خير من مشركة ولو أعجبتكم ولا تنكحوا المشركين حتى يؤمنوا ولعبد مؤمن خير من مشرك ولو أعجبكم أولئك يدعون إلى النار والله يدعو إلى الجنة والمغفرة بإذنه ويبين آياته للناس لعلهم يتذكرون.
Now Allah Ta'ala now wants to solve one societal problem that the new Muslim Ummah may face. He says, وَلَا تَنْكِحُوا الْمُشْرِكَاتِ. Do not marry, do not engage in any marriage contract with al-mushrikat, the polytheist women, those women that do not believe in God, حَتَّى يُؤْمِنَّ, until they become believers, Muslims. You are not to force them or coerce them into Islam. No, let them accept Islam on their own volition, on their own, wish. They want to become Muslims and they are Muslims. Then Muslim men can marry them. Don't force them. Don't coerce them. Don't say, I will not marry you until you become a Muslim. Are you sure you're going to marry me if I become a Muslim? Yes, I will marry you. And then say, okay, let me accept Islam. No, don't do that. That is to say she's accepting Islam for your sake. And most often, when the husband dies, they revert back to their former religion. And even take the children along with them. So that's why Allah says in the Quran, لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي. You should not force anyone into Islam. Truth is manifest from error. Truth is clear. La ilaha illallah is clear. So allow them to accept Islam on their own wish. Then you can marry them. These are not the Ahlul Kitab women, the Christians or the Jewish women. These are the polytheist women, the women that do not believe there is God to be worshipped, and they do not worship any deity, or maybe they even worship jinns and their own other traditional worship in their shrines. These are the mushrikat that Allah says we should not marry. وَلَا أَمَةٌ مُؤْمِنَةٌ. Know that a slave, a Muslim girl, Muslim slave girl, خَيْرٌ مِنْ مُشْرِكَةٍ, is by far better in the sight of Allah than a mushrika, a polytheist woman. وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ. Even if that other woman is so beautiful, maybe she's the most beautiful girl around, it's better you do not marry her, marry a slave girl that is a mu'minah. Because all your children will be Muslims. Do you understand? All your children will be Muslims. And then, because she's a Muslim, she will train them as Muslims. Even after you, she will still continue as a Muslim. But the polytheist women, in fact, even the Christian women, most of them will just revert back to their former deen and become Christians. and take your children, subhanallah, na'udhu billah, to the church. It's most unfortunate. And even today, some of us want to marry Christian women when we have in abundance Muslim women that are looking for husbands. We have more than enough women for you to marry. If you want 4 women, you can marry 4 Muslim women. Now they are looking for husbands. What have you seen in Christian women, Jewish women? What is there? Even if they are most beautiful girls, allow them. Marry Muslims. This will protect the faith, the deen. Allah says, وَلَا تُنْكِحُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. And you Muslim women, do not marry the polytheist men. Don't marry the mushrik. So a woman, a Muslim woman, is haram for her to marry a polytheist man. You understand? So you can see the two sides. For the men, do not marry polytheist women. Now for the Muslim women, do not marry polytheist men. وَلَعَبْدٌ مُؤْمِنٌ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنُوا, until these men become Muslims on their own. وَلَعَبْدٌ مُؤْمِنٌ, to marry a slave boy or man, خَيْرٌ, is better min mushrikin, than to marry a slave, than to marry a mushrik, a polytheist man. So Muslim women, it's better for you to marry slaves than to marry free men, but mushrik, a disbeliever, not just disbeliever, but a polytheist. Hope it's clear. Then Allah says, وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَكُمْ, even if he's the most handsome man around, even if he's the most educated man around, even if he's the most anything you can think of. وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَكُمْ أُولَٰئِكَ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى النَّارِ. All these call people to hellfire, because when they revert back to their faith, or even convince you to revert to accept their faith, they will call you to hellfire. So as a Muslim woman, if you marry a polytheist or a non-Muslim, thinking that because of you he reverted to Islam, there's every tendency that one day he will even try to see how he can woo you to Christianity if he's a Christian. So it has happened. The name is here. Oh, so the lady was a Muslim. He met the man. She started preaching him. So at last he accepted the Muslim. So we were thinking it's an addition to Islam, not only that it's double torture. So he later went to school after his service. He told the woman, if you are ready, you embrace Christianity, otherwise, I will. So at last, he took that they are not guilty as a police. They all are started with Islam. So has she accepted the other faith? Yes. The question is that somebody was, adding a point that here where we're doing this tafsir, and you see, it happened that one woman preached to a man, then he accepted Islam for her sake, but then later on, he convinced her that she had to revert to Christianity if she at all wants the marriage to remain. So finally, he convinced her she had to leave Islam, subhanallah, na'udhu billah, into Christianity. So that's why Allah said, Ulaika, those people, yad'una ila an-nar, they call you to hellfire. Wallahu yad'u ila al-jannati, but Allah is calling you to Jannah, wal maghfirah, and forgiveness, bi'idhnihi, by His will. Subhanallah. So you can see, why don't you associate yourself with believing men and believing women? There's nothing you're going to get.
What of the institution where the Christian lady told you that she's going to change Islam if you are ready?
That is what we are saying. She should not say, somebody was asking, what if there's a Christian lady that says she's ready to accept Islam if you truly will marry her? Then the answer is that she should not, condition her, reversion to Islam on marriage. She should just accept Islam because Islam is the religion of God. Then marriage contract is something different. Then you agree to marriage. You should not force anyone to accept Islam. And nobody should accept Islam under a condition. Because if that condition ceases, then he reverts back to his other former faith. If she said, if you are going to marry me, I'm going to revert to Islam. But what if the marriage breaks later? She reverts back to her Christianity. So Allah does not want this kind of marriage. You understand? You say, no, listen, sister, if you want to revert to Islam, please accept Islam. Not because I want to marry you. Marriage is something different. It's a different contract. Then we should know how to tie the marriage. Do you understand? That is different from accepting Islam. Let her accept Islam from her own volition. And then you can marry her later if you so wish. May Allah help us. So Allah says, وَاللَّهُ يَدْعُو إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ وَالْمَغْفِرَةِ بِإِذْنِهِ وَيُبَيِّنُ آيَاتِهِ لِلنَّاسِ. Allah explains His verses, His signs to people, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرُونَ, so that they will become admonished. It will become as wa'azi to them. All these things we've been saying. Now, this one is different from the Ahlul Kitab. If they are Ahlul Kitabi, Allah has allowed us to marry their women. Their women. You can marry Ahlul Kitabi, Kitabiya, whether a Christian woman or a Jewish woman, without converting her, reverting her to Islam. It's allowed in Islam. But the discussion is that why would we want to marry a Christian girl when we have, excess of Muslim girls without marriage? Why don't we first marry out all the Muslim girls we have? Then we seek for the non-Muslim ones. Is it clear? People are leaving our own daughters without husbands and seeking for Ahlul Kitab because they say it's halal. Please take note. And secondly, no Muslim woman, this is an agreement by the scholars that no Muslim woman is allowed to marry any non-Muslim, even if it's Kitabi, Ahlul Kitab. No Muslim woman should marry a non-Muslim because الرجال قوامون على النساء. Always men have, more power, more, coercive, tendencies than women, because they give بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض, because some, what Allah SWT has bestowed upon men, that is more than that bestowed upon women. وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم, and because they also use their wealth to feed the woman, to take care of the woman. So Allah has given an upper hand. So in any marriage contract, the man is the leader of the home. It's not that they are just sharing. Sometimes, the Englishman or those that studied, we say, marriage is a contract. Yes, it's a contract. But then they would also always want to equate the position of the woman to that of the man. No, it's not true. Allah has given the man, the leadership of the house. So even, practical example has shown it. That's why you see it's more often that the man can derail the woman more than the woman can derail the man. Just an example of giving of a woman that says, convert to Islam, I will marry you. Then after conversion and after the marriage, then he says, if you want this marriage to remain, you have to come with me to Christianity. And she went to Christianity with him. You can see the power of the man. So that's what scholars say, in no instance that a Muslim woman should marry a non-Muslim man. Allah knows best. I think we can stop here, and then if there's any question, we entertain questions. Otherwise, just say a few words and pray supreme prayer. May Allah help us. Any question, please? Yes.
My question is based on will. For me, the writing of will. Is it permissible for a Muslim if you have two wives? Mostly you are contemplating after your death, you start fighting because of the inheritance or the property. Is it permissible for a Muslim to write his will and divide the property to them before they die?
The question is that, is it permissible for a Muslim man before he dies to write a will? Yes, writing wills. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, said, you see there out there. Before you divide the inheritance, you have to take out the will, as long as it's not up to 1/3 of the total inheritance. And then you pay back the debts owed by the deceased. But the Prophet ﷺ says, La wasiyata li warith. You don't give wasiyah to rightful heirs, those that have their share of inheritance. The wives have share, children have shares. Sometimes brothers, siblings, brothers and sisters have shares. You understand? So you don't say, I give them this. In fact, you don't share inheritance before your death. That's not called inheritance. Inheritance means after you passed out, then whatever is left is called inheritance. But if you are alive, you cannot share. There's no mazhab, no verse in the Quran, no hadith that say you can share your own inheritance. So that if you die, what if you didn't die? You can remain for like 10, 20 years after you've shared all you have. So are you going to take back all the things you've given your heirs? No, you are not the one to share your own leftover things. After your demise, the scholars will now sit down and gather all you left behind and then share it according to the ones that you left behind. Because even those that you have given you call it inheritance, one of them may even die before you. Then you have to take it back again and share it among the others. People, you don't share your own inheritance before you die. No, you don't do that. You understand? And you do not give, there is no will to anyone that has, a certain percentage mentioned in the Quran or Hadith from the inheritance. You don't give them will again. La wasiyata li warith.
What's the difference between the two, the will and the inheritance?
Inheritance is what you left behind after your death. Will is what you write to say, after my death, give so and so person that is not my heir, so amount. Maybe you have a shop, then you have somebody that has been taking care of the shop for several years, and now you see that he's not entitled to any portion of your inheritance, or you don't want to leave him behind just like that because your heirs might not give him anything. Then you write a will that give him so million, a house, so house, or so car, and so on. Then after your death, if whatever you say we should give to anyone you will, is not up to or even not more than 1/3 of the total inheritance, then you pass it. But if it's more than that, then we reduce it according to the proportion that is best. Then we call him and say, our father or the deceased, has willed that we should give you this, but after calculation, we've seen that it's more than 1/3 of the total inheritance. But as we've now calculated the percentage, it reduces to so amount. Please bear with us and take this. Pray for our deceased person.
I'm mistaking the two. Inheritance and will.
No,
Some are taking it as.
Will is different. You write wills to those that have no direct share from what you leave behind. Will. But if they have certain percentage mentioned in the Quran, that is what you're going to give them. You don't write any will again. It's as if you are cheating the others. Because if he has his share and you've written a will to add to that one, that means he has, inherited more than his share. And that is dhulm. And Allah is not a zalim. Subhanallah. And if you have a question, you can ask. MashaAllah. جزاكم الله خيرا فسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك